Hands down, the most popular question that I get on social media is, how do I make a chicken breast not suck? And today we are going to answer that question. Welcome to the second installment of the Chicken Atlas, your virtual guide to all things chicken. Last week we butchered a whole chicken into 8 pieces. Starting this week, we're gonna take a closer look at the individual pieces of the chicken and a few ways on how to prepare them. Starting today with the white meat, or the breastisisis. In this video, we'll walk through 2 techniques, each showcasing a different way to cook a chicken breast. The first technique's gonna be on the easier side, definitely a little more straightforward, while the second technique, though not insanely hard, is a little more adventurous. To test what you learned from this video at home, I suggest starting with the first technique, then moving on to the second technique when you feel you're ready. Either way, the real goal of this video is to leave you with a better idea on how to turn a humble chickie bee into something a little more marvelous. Alright, cool. Let's get started here. The chicken breast, a fan favorite amongst the bodybuilding community, chicken Caesar salad advocates, and an excellent option for a quick weeknight din. Here we have the 2 breasts from the chicken that I broke down in the last video. There are a bunch of different techniques to cook a chicken breast, but all said, with this first technique, I wanted to keep things relatively simple without compromising flavor. Season up with kosher salt, add enough neutral oil to lightly coat the bottom of the pan, and lay the breasts in away from your body to avoid any oil splash. I'm cooking over medium-high heat in my carbon steel pan, which heats similarly to a cast iron, but a good old stainless steel pan works great too. To start, we're going to butter baste the breast. Butter basting in a pan is a technique used in many professional kitchens to cook tender proteins and other morsels. First, sear the breasts on one side until golden brown, then flip them over. Then add in chunks of whole butter. You're going to need a lot more butter than you think, and I mean like a borderline uncomfortable amount, but don't worry, it'll all work out. After the butter, throw in the herbs and garlic. You can use any hearty herbs you'd like, so think like thyme, rosemary, savory, oregano, anything that won't wilt away. These are your breasts, so choose the flavor that you like, but I'm using thyme and rosemary. Push the food towards the top of the pan and carefully tilt the pan towards your body, using a large spoon to scoop and pour the butter over the chicken. Basting the chicken in butter helps it cook through fully and infuses it with the flavor from the herbs, garlic, and butter. The butter will also begin to brown and develop more flavor as you baste. Depending on the thickness of the protein or the type of food, some cooks finish the cooking process just by basting alone, but 80% of the time I choose to finish my breasts in a hot oven. I set my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, then finish them in there for a couple of minutes until they hit temp. These little guys only needed like 4 minutes. Standards in the US claim that chicken is safe to eat at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. As a cook, I have to tell you that, but there's wiggle room, so I'll post more technical information on this below. Then let the breast rest for at least 5 minutes to let it reabsorb some of those juices and stay succulent. Okay, on to technique number 2. Here we're going to make what's called a roulade, which generally means food that's been filled and rolled. This could be sweet or savory. For this roulade, we're going to butterfly a breast, then pound it out flat before stuffing. Carefully slice open the chicken breast, then pound it out flat. It helps to use larger breasts for this. The larger the cutlet, the more surface area and the easier it is to roll. I'm going to use a meat mallet to beat my meat, but if you don't have one of these, a wine bottle works too. I like to use a large plastic Ziploc bag to pound cutlets, but plastic wrap works all the same. It helps to sprinkle a bit of water inside the bag to help the chicken breast spread easier as you bash it. Notice how I'm not bashing straight down on the breast, but instead pounding down in a smearing motion. The idea here is that we want to pull out the breast to spread it thin. We're going for about 1/3 of an inch thickness here. Once your breasts are pounded out, you're ready to stuff. I'm stuffing my roulades with some uncured salami, prosciutto, Gruyere cheese, and a bit of parsley. It's what I had in my fridge. But remember, this is a technique, not a recipe video, so I want you to stuff your chickie with whatever your heart desires. Just be careful not to overstuff it, or it'll make rolling it up harder. To roll, lay out your pounded breast and layer in your ingredients towards the bottom third of the breast. Then curl the bottom end of the breast over your stuffing and gently tuck the breast into itself like so. Use your hands to help the roulade keep its shape, and don't worry if there are a few holes in your breasts. We're going to wrap these little meaty tubes up and help everything stay in place. Set your prepped roulades aside and unravel some plastic wrap. We're going to tightly wrap the roulade to secure its components inside and help it keep a uniform shape. To do so, place one roulade towards the front of the plastic wrap and again begin to tightly tuck and roll the wrap to form a chicken log. Once wrapped, pick up the meat log and use the excess plastic wrap to twist and revolve the roulade together to form a tight, dense unit. Use your kitchen counter to get some real leverage. At this point, the plastic wrap should be thinned out and almost like a string. Tie a knot, then use your other hand to pull that knot as close to the base of the chicken log as possible. I find that twisting the end of the plastic wrap to create a pointy tip makes it easier to feed the string through to create the knot. If done correctly, the roulade should look like a little chicken cookie dough type thing. I mean, come on, tell me that doesn't look like a Tyson x Tall House collab. Snip off the ends of the roulade, then rinse and repeat for however many roulades you're planning to make. To ensure that our roulades are fully cooked through, we're going to poach them in just simmering water for about 20 minutes, so like somewhere around 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And don't worry, if you followed the last instruction and rolled the plastic tight enough, water will not flood into your chicken. So yeah, this is the first step in our roulade cooking process. While poaching, the roulades will begin to cook in their own juices trapped in that plastic. After about 20 minutes, the chicken is safe to eat, so from here you can chill them down in an ice bath and keep them in your fridge for like 5 to 6 days. If you're cooking for a crowd, you can make these ahead and then finish them later, but I'll show you how to finish them now. So after we poach, there's a number of ways that we can make our roulades more texturally and visually appealing before we serve them. Looks like the tunaman smelled the chickie. These meat tubes are juicy fresh out the wrapping, so I recommend opening them over a plate to catch the drippings. Yeah, so as mentioned, these things don't look too pretty, so to finish them off, we're going to pat them dry because moisture is the enemy of brown food. Then we're going to sear them over high heat. But pan searing isn't your only option. I've seen these roulades battered or breaded and fried, breaded and baked, or even grilled. The idea here is that we're making them more appetizing by adding either caramelization, texture, or both. Here I just got my pan set on high heat. I added a little grapeseed oil to help things cook along, then carefully added my roulades back into the pan. This browning process could take anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes depending on your stovetop and pan, so just cook them until they look good for you. Alright, now that we have our whole breasts and roulades complete, let's take a closer look. Our roulades are looking beautiful and bulbous. I'm excited to take a look inside. And the breasts look fantastic with a nice crispy skin, and it seems to have retained most of its moisture. All right, it's time to Jason Voorhees these things naturally, starting with the whole breast. Here I'm just cutting medium large pieces sliced on the bias, which is a fancy way for saying on an angle. And yes, chicken breasts have a natural grain running more or less vertically down the muscle. Cut against that. For the roulade, use a super sharp knife and try not to saw through. We're going for clean, even pieces here, and we don't want to pull the filling out on accident, so just do your best. Now that's a juicy Lucy. Here's a little side-by-side of the final products. From here you can get creative and brush over some of those pan juices or make a simple sauce or just keep things straight. Your call. Here I'm just pouring over some of that herby garlicky brown butter from the basting part of the video and some leftover chimichurri that I had from another video. Cured meats. I love a good chickie bee, I really do. But as I said earlier, there are plenty of ways to cook a chicken breast. These are really only 2 techniques. Though I figured these 2 techniques could be a good push-off point on how to kind of get you in the right headspace, get you thinking a little more critically on how to cook a tender piece of chickie like this. Next week, we'll take a closer look at the dark meat, first starting with the thigh and the leg, otherwise known as the drumstick. Anywho, thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of y'alls next week. Ta-ta.